How's it going, everybody? This is Dan, the World Traveler, talking to you about Barcelona, Spain. I went there, and by the way, this video is being made in October 2025, and I went to Barcelona, Spain in March of 2024. So I'm going to talk about Barcelona, Spain today. Spain was a really wonderful trip, and by the way, this was part of a three-country tour I was in. I went to Spain. When I was in Spain, I got a bus to Andorra on I think it was a Tuesday, and then on a Thursday. I got there on a Sunday, left on a Saturday. I got to Barcelona. I flew into Barcelona Sunday. I left on a Saturday, something like that. But anyway, it was a week I was there in Barcelona, Spain. And when I was there on Tuesday I was there. And this was March of 2024, by the way. The Tuesday I was there, I was able to get a bus to Andorra, the country of Andorra. And then on Thursday, I was able to, slip across the border. Not slip, but get a bus across the border into Perpignan, France. And that was a fun trip, Barcelona, Spain. The point is, if you go to Barcelona, one of the nice things about Barcelona is its proximity to, two other countries. So it's like if you go to Madrid, maybe you can't do that as easily, but Barcelona, for sure, you can do that. But Barcelona was a very nice trip for me. I get to practice my Spanish. I'm not fluent in Spanish. By any means, I can survive. If you put me in a Spanish speaking country, I can survive, and definitely had to use it in Spain. A lot of Europe, English is, you speak English and only English, you're just fine. Spain is not necessarily one of those places. Neither is France or Italy. You pretty much really helps to speak the language, especially Spain. Barcelona, I definitely had to use my Spanish with a lot of people who couldn't speak English. At least my Spanish was better than their English. Maybe they really did speak English, but when I heard me speak Spanish, this is how nice, I can just speak Spanish with you, evidently. But that's a 2-hour conversation. Anyway, Spain was a really fun trip. One of the things, if you ever go to Barcelona, Spain, just kind of be mindful. One of the biggest things going on there is a place called Sagrada. I'm probably mispronouncing this. Sagrada Familia. That's the Sagrada Familia. It's a big church. It was started in the late 1800s, and get ready for this. If you visit Sagrada Familia, be ready to see a lot of construction, because it's constantly under construction. It's been under construction, evidently, and I'm not really an authority about this. I could be wrong, but it's been under construction for a very long time. And I don't really have an answer as to why that is. Some folks, say that the Spanish Civil War kind of slowed things down, but of course that was, that was a long time ago, and before World War II. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Again, I'm not an authority on why there's always construction at Sagrada Familia. I was able, you can spend a lot of money if you go to Spain. I'm a cheap guy. I stay in hostels wherever I go, most of the time, generally speaking. When I went to Spain, when I went to Barcelona, Spain, I stayed in a hostel. I think I paid, 40 euros a night, which is a little more than I usually spend in a hostel. But, it was either that or pay, 200 euros a night for a hotel, which, no, thank you. I'll just go to a hostel and pay 40 euros a night, which is about, $45 United States money. But Sagrada Familia is a good place. Walking around, again, Barcelona is just kind of like every other European city. Excellent public transportation, very walkable. You can go anywhere without a car. You don't need to rent a car. You can go anywhere you want in Spain without a car. It's like, it's Europe. It's not the United States of America, where you basically have to, if you go somewhere, renting a car is kind of something you have to do. But in Europe it's a different story. Very walkable. I lost weight just walking around all over the place. And, there's a lot of Spanish dishes out there. People talk about the Spanish food. I just ate pizza, whatever I see. If generally speaking, when I go to Europe or I take a vacation overseas, and I want to save money, pizza is usually for whatever reason, pizza is usually the cheapest thing on the menu. Go to pizza restaurants. Pizza, from what I hear, isn't very expensive to make, so thus it's not very expensive to eat as a customer. But that's kind of the way I do things when I go on trips. I don't really, drop lots of money on food. I just don't. Or, lodging. I stay in cheap hostels. But you'll see some, what I will say is this. I was able to engage the people in Barcelona, and a lot of the folks in Barcelona in Spain rather, are not from Spain. They're from South. I met a lot of people from South America, from Mexico, from Spanish speaking, Spanish speaking countries. And believe it or not, they come to Europe and come to a Spanish speaking country in Europe from South America, and come to work or whatnot, or study, or whatever the case may be. That's what I encountered in Barcelona anyway. Maybe other people had different experiences. Get ready for, if you do go to Barcelona, get ready to see like street signs. You know how in the United States of America we see street signs? They're kind of like in the street, on the intersection, sticking up out of a pole. This is Smith Street, and this is the intersection of Smith and Anderson Street, or what have you. This the street signs. They have street signs in Barcelona, but they're on the sides of buildings, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that, but just kind of be ready for that. If you go to Barcelona or other parts of Europe, be ready for the streets. To be this is this such and such avenue. You look for it on the wall of the building near the street. Just kind of be ready for that difference. Okay. But that is one of the something else. Be careful if you go to Barcelona, or if you go to any European city, especially around the tourist areas. Just kind of watch your belongings. I actually did. This was a very unfortunate thing. I saw a robbery happen right in front of me. It was actually around the Sagrada Familia area. I was outside a coffee shop. I was kind of having some coffee, and I was watching these people who were close by, and they were, taking some photographs. They set their belongings down for a few minutes, and they took their eyes off their belongings. Lots of valuable things like cameras and passports and whatnot. And sure enough, somebody swiped all their stuff, and nobody saw it happen. I didn't see it happen. They didn't see it happen. But it's just, if you ever go to Barcelona, you go to a tourist area. I'm not picking on Barcelona here, but anywhere in Europe, just keep your eye on. Assume somebody's lurking around, trying to just assume the worst. Keep all your stuff on you. Keep it in your front pocket, not your back pocket. Take precautions. Just be mindful that unfortunate stuff does happen out there. Sagrada Familia itself was, 30 or 40 euros to go inside the Sagrada Familia. But Barcelona is beautiful. Like I said, you're right there on the Mediterranean. You can definitely hang out on the Mediterranean Sea, take a walk, stop at some coffee shops. That's about all I have to say. I could keep talking here about Barcelona, but it's a beautiful city, lots of history, lots of fun things to do. And like I said, France and Andorra you can go to both cities in a couple hours on a bus. So you can definitely go to Barcelona and within a week hit 3 countries, and say you set foot in 3 countries. But anyway, Barcelona, Spain. This is Dan the World Traveler talking about Barcelona, Spain. Again, this video is being made in October 2025 about my trip to Barcelona, which was in March of 2024. Folks, have a great day. Dan the World Traveler. Goodbye now. Thank you.